Hello, lovely podcast people. Welcome to my first ever non-nutrition related parenting episode. I'm not nervous. I rarely get nervous, but I'm anticipatory about how it will go or how it will be received. So please do provide me with any feedback via any means you deem fit. If you listen to this one, So I want to preface this as my first one, basically saying I don't regard myself as an expert on parenting in any way, shape or form. I made a comment, and I'm annoyed at myself because this has just popped into my head, that I didn't go and research exactly what I said. But the reason I feel qualified, quote unquote qualified, or that there's a point to me discussing these things, a bit like my wisdom episodes, is that I believe myself to be someone who can offer some helpful insight to people. Over the last, it was maybe about 3 to 4 years ago, essentially I put on my stories, I'm going to post more of my real life, which my children are a huge part of my life and they always have been. And as I've kind of said before, I volunteered in babies creche for 15 odd years before Ollie was born. Babies, for whatever reason, ever since I was a little kid, I've just loved babies. I was sort of very involved, as much as you can be, only being 5 years older, but in my baby sister when she was born. And it's just something that babies give me life. I sort of see the best in the world with regards to babies. And then with friends, I've always been the person, like a screaming baby, I will hold it, not have any qualms with it, and often they calm down and fall asleep on me and whatever. It's just one of those things. It's funny. So the thing I said on a previous post on Facebook was, I have parented on purpose. So sometimes in the world of nutrition or whatever, people talk about, experience. Oh, I've got 10 years of experience. But unfortunately, if your experience has just been haphazard or not guided or has lacked critical thinking, just doing something doesn't necessarily always make you feel better. In our workplace review process, I've implemented this thing which I call, or the way I define, and I don't know if other people use this exact thing because it just seems common sense to me, but we use weaknesses and areas for improvement. And areas for improvement are often just things that we talk to our staff about, that just by doing it, they will continue to improve because of whatever stage they are at their career or in the job. But weaknesses are maybe things that they need deliberate effort within. They need guidance. They need to change the way they're doing things. They need some constructive criticism or feedback to then change it and get better. So it's that whole practice doesn't make perfect, but perfect practice might make perfect. Anyway, so I've parented on purpose. And what I mean by that is I've really tried to think critically about my parenting. Before I ever had babies, if someone had said to me, what do you think about smacking children? I would just have, my young years, I just want to, I was smacked. I might smack my children, not hard, but, just as a little smack bum sort of thing. And it was just something that I hadn't thought critically about. And prior to becoming a parent, my whole paradigm shifted, and I became of the view that really, if you have to smack kids, you are not parenting well. It's you're failing as a parent if that has to happen. And some of the things that I have done with Ollie and Arlo, I would like to share. And people have said to me, when I said, 3 to 4 years ago, I said, I'm going to share them my stories. It was basically saying, like, I wasn't asking permission, but it was just like, I hope you understand this is why I'm going to do it. I know lots of you couldn't care less about my kids, and I get that. 100% get that. I don't care about your dogs and cats, all of you people who post them. I could not care less. And I hope you understand that the same way as I see no reason that you should be interested in my children if you're not kind of a babies type person. But over the time, people have said to me, and in particular, what's really touched me is young guys saying, I'm not a dad yet, but when I do, I'm really grateful for some of these insights you've offered me. It's offered me some insight that's maybe increased my confidence a teeny bit. It's made me want to be a great dad or a better dad or whatever. It showed me what a good dad can be like, because maybe I didn't experience that. So I've had these, only a few comments over time saying these things, and they've really encouraged me in such a way. And even lots of people just saying, it's great to see a really involved dad, whether you are a single dad like me or a dad in a relationship and you're both parenting in the same household and whatever. Even sometimes in that case, the father figure isn't that involved. And there's some stuff that I want to talk about there as well, that it will be tough words for the other parent. And in this instance, I guess I probably mean the female parent, the woman, I just don't know what people get offended by these days. Again, why do I say that? Because I always then go, I don't care. See what my intent is. I do just try to, I want to use the best possible word available. And I know people get uppity when I'm not a female, don't reduce me just down to my reproductive organs. And then you say woman, and people are like, oh, you're saying woman, like it's offensive. And you can't say girls because blah, blah, blah. Anyway. So, what was I saying? Some tough stuff that I would like to be able to say, that I think the types of followers I have, the critical thinking, the good people to hear will go, man, I hadn't thought about that. I didn't know that. No one's ever vocalized that. Why didn't you tell me? There's so many things in life and in relationships. Some people, why didn't you tell me that? I would have, some of the things that are coming into my head about communication and things that people don't normally talk about. I'm thinking of stuff in the bedroom. It's like, why didn't you tell me that that's what you liked or didn't like? You just had to say it, but people don't vocalize, and then they go on unfulfilled. Anyway, so there's some stuff there that I want to talk about, and just provides maybe some insight into what maybe the man, the father, is feeling like and how you can foster that. And what I'm talking about here is I love children. There is nothing that could stop me wanting me to be part of my children's lives, being hugely intimately involved in everything. But it's different for some men. And I think there's probably a huge genetic, gender, whatever component to that. Right. So that's a really big preface. I'll never hopefully have to do that again. And having done this first one, it's like whatever, breaking the seal. Hopefully some more will flow out and they can be helpful, provide some insight. And they'll just be little things. And like I said, I'm not an expert, but things I have read are from experts and are from, one of the things I'm going to talk about today, I need to find you the reference for it. So the thing that I'm going to talk about today, there's two parts to it. One is, that was it. Right. So last night before bed, Orly and Arlo love to have tickle fights pre-bed. And I kind of joke around about, pre-bed routine, got it nailed, # great parenting, # winging it type scenario. But at the same time, it kind of like burning off that excess energy, essentially wearing them out just before bed. It works great. But, some people, you then have it could basically, what's the technical term? Decreases sleep onset latency. Is that how the scientific way of phrasing? They fall asleep quick. But also you can have these like really long, slow. And I think, again, everyone finds their way of doing things. We do both. Sometimes we have reading. I read them a story, or normally it's a book called Born Free with Elsa the Lion, if anyone knows it. Super old school. And then they have back tickles. And then I put some face cream on them and I massage their cheeks and relax them. Anyway, that's the super cute one. That's one I love. The other one is just fighting. Tickle fighting. Orly is obsessed with tickles. Arlo hates tickles but loves fighting. So it's like a compromise. Anyway, we were doing these and I put my phone on voice note record because their giggles are so lovely. And I thought, maybe I'll post it somewhere I know when I follow loads of Instagram baby pages and when you see babies giggling, it's just lovely and they have cute laughs. And anyway, So kind of, I guess my mind was switched on a bit more, maybe because of that. And we have this thing that I've done with them for a while now, and we use this phrase, no thank you. And there's a couple of bits to this, and so there's two things I want to say about rough play, teaching boundaries and consent. And the second one being our wording around things, teaching them about boundaries and consent and other sorts of things. So we have this thing, no thank you. So like with Orly, she is obsessed with tickles, like tickle my neck, tickle my hips, tickle my ribs. And to the point, I would hate it. She likes like me to like hold her arm up and Arlo to tickle her, and she loves it. And you'd think it was almost torturous, like it would be torturous for me. But at the same time, she's being controlled there. She's being ganged up on. And so I'm very aware of there being boundaries and consent and these sorts of things. But, you know, as soon as you stop, she's like, do it again. And, you know, we'll like, stopping. But then sometimes she'll be like, stop. And then you'll stop and she'll go, start again. So listening to those kind of cues. But we have, and Arlo hates tickling. But occasionally, as part of the tickle fight, he's allowed to be tickled. But he more likes being thrown around and sort of, you know, he basically likes to run away, be grabbed and thrown back onto the bed. But we have this thing, no thank you, right? Which is like, again, when I talk to other people, like non-parents and parents alike, like often people bring up this whole thing of like, it's essentially like a safe word. And you can use that phrase to mean whatever it brings to mind. But it's important. It's like, because in these play fights, and I teach Orly and Arlo this exact same thing, when they do fighting, they will be saying, no, blah, blah, blah. But they don't mean no, stop. It's just part of the fighting. It's part of the, stop, blah, blah, blah. But they don't want the game to stop. But there are instances when someone takes it too far. And often that's just like, bah. And that's where it teaches boundaries. This rough play, and there's this reference I want to find you from, I don't know which journal, it's a psychology type journal, but again, just about children needing that rough play being a great part of their development. And unfortunately, it's often, you know, someone will just get smacked or poked in the eye or whatever, and it's just game over, it stops. But sometimes it's progressive, and it's like, no, actually, that doesn't feel nice. No, actually, that's hurting too much. No, actually, whatever. And it's this, we use this phrase, no, thank you, because it's just so, it's almost quite, it's like formal, posh. And it's like, oh no, okay, this isn't a game anymore. We're not kicking and screaming and giggling and So we use this phrase, no, thank you. And it's been really great for me since they were little tiny toddlers that they'll sometimes do stuff that hurts me. You know, they'll be clambering over me and I might have a cut or a bruise myself, or they're sticking their fingers in my eyes or whatever. And I say, no, thank you. And they've just kind of learnt that it's a bit more serious than just like, ow, because I am forever going, ow, oh, because they're like jumping over my head, and you know, they might be pulling your hair if you have it, and you don't really mind. It's just fun, rough play. But if they do something and you use this no thank you thing, it's just so helpful. And sometimes I'll be in the other room and someone will pick up a weapon. And it's, you know, they've been using other weapons which I've deemed to be okay, like Hulk smash glove things and a Thor hammer, and Orly was using a giant hamster as a weapon. But they'll pick something up that I deem, okay, that's going to need, and it's just this no thank you, right? So some of this is, I'm just telling you something that's common sense. And some of you are just like, why are you telling this? I don't know. Who knows? You're all pretty freaking nice people, so maybe you're not thinking that. And you might not use that. It might just bring something else up in your mind. So, the thing about rough play, it's just, I don't know. I'm also of this thing of like, if you're a single parent and you're not into rough play, like I'm not really into arts and crafts that much, but I force myself to do it. I just don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy painting. I don't particularly enjoy building stuff, but I just force myself to, and I enjoy spending time with them. But like the other day I made a ladder out of ice cream sticks and super glue, and it was boring, but Ollie loved it, and so I'm going there for the extrinsic reward. It's certainly not intrinsic. Anyway, so I'm just thinking in terms of rough play, something for people to consider. Who knows? Final thing, this is going to be short, I hope, although that intro was long, is, and this is the one that I've talked to about a lot of people, and I've seen other really good sort of parenting expert type accounts talk about. And it definitely changed, it resonated with me, and so I make sure I pick up on my wording sometimes. So you'll get this thing when you've got a toddler, and it's like, oh, give so-and-so a hug, or, give grandma a kiss. And there's two parts to this. One, so easy to, do you want to give grandma a hug? Do you want to give grandma a kiss? Very simple wording. Not just I'm telling you to, which they may not argue with and just do, and why should they have to? And two, there's the slightly worse thing of give grandma a hug, give grandma a kiss, or, whoever, sorry. And then when they don't, or they don't want to, actually pressurizing them into do that, or making it a big deal, or saying that person will be hurt or you'll hurt their feelings, rather than giving them autonomy and the ability to say yes and no. So the whole boundaries and consent thing. And I feel like it's one of those things where you could very, very easily go, what's the harm? But I think it's a worthwhile thing for, you make your own decisions with your own children, this, that, and the other. But for me, and that's why I'm doing this, just like some deeper thinking, just stimulating your grey matter, just things I like to do as a person with anyone I speak to on any matter, especially when I feel like I can offer some insight, is this whole thing of, it's absolutely fine to say, do you want to give grandma a kiss goodbye? And it's absolutely fine for them to say yes or no, and for us to accept that. And for the other adult to, it's that awkward thing. Do you want to give grandma a hug goodbye? No. Oh. And for the other adult to be understanding, so of their ability to, and also sometimes it's really difficult, isn't it? Because it might be give grandma a kiss. Grandma might be saying that, and you need to step in and be like, well, just explain what I've just talked about. Cool, I'm going to leave it there. As I've been saying that, there's loads of other cool little things that I've done with Ollie and Arlo that have honestly been game changers. I truly believe my children to be some of the best behaved children ever. And I say that now, 5 and 7. There's been some issues recently. When I say issues, they are absolutely minor, as in they don't do what they're told exactly the second I ask them. I have a very warped view of those kind of things, but honestly, the complete absence of tantrums, I feel like there's some techniques that you can really, really use that are phenomenal, that I've picked up from different people, other parents, parenting courses online, that I'll talk about. So anyway, this has been fun. Please feel free to give me any feedback on these things. The encouragement on the wisdom ones initially was what kept me doing them. People have seemed to really enjoy those. These are kind of parenting wisdom. They'll still come under the wisdom banner, I think. No, maybe they will be parenting. I think there's a whole parenting section, isn't there? Anyway, and I'll do some more. They'll probably be few and far between because I'm not regularly reading parenting research. And I wish I had done this when they were small, because I did so much with regards to their weaning, their nutrition, that would have been interesting. And maybe if I think about it at some point and it pops into my mind, I'll talk about it. But you might see it weaved in within some other stuff about more, I don't know, other things. I'll chuck in some nutrition stuff maybe as well. Cool. Until next time, much love.